9 o'clock in the morning out here on the West Coast, noon back east in Atlanta, Georgia, where our friends are roasting coffee, probably as I speak. Good morning, everybody. This is Ben Jones with Badger from Bronson Coffee Roasters, and I'm pretty excited today because we have this new coffee, the El Triunfo, out of Mexico. We're calling it Café de Mujer, which means basically coffee of women. This is a really cool coffee. There's a lot of things about this that I'm excited about, and I'm going to talk to you about that as I brew some of it in my Chemex. Again, standard Chemex recipe here. I have about 40 grams. I like to use 41 grams of coffee to make myself 2 diner mugs. So that throws my ratio off a little bit from my classic 19 grams per 10 ounces, but it's close enough in the ballpark. I'll be there. The grind setting on this is moderately coarse, not as coarse as French press. I would go bring it to French press and take it down a couple clicks on your grinder. It's more coarse than standard drip, not as coarse as your Chemex. And water for this coffee, I've heated it up to 205 so that now that it's turned off and it kind of cooled off a little bit, it's just above 200 degrees. I do that so you don't have to hear the sound of the coffee heater heating the coffee, the boiler. Anyway, so this coffee out of Mexico, the El Triunfo. So for those of you who don't know your geography super well, like me, I have to look at a map. This coffee comes out of the region of Chiapas, and it is right against the border of a biosphere, a nature preserve. It's the largest in Mesoamerica, and it's so. What does that tell us? That tells us we've got really healthy ecosystems around there. And this coffee, doesn't come out of that biosphere, but it comes from the area surrounding it. So if you're protecting an area, you also want to take care of the area around it so that we don't have spillover. So this is really cool. It's shade grown. It's not bird friendly certified, but I'm sure that if you went down and looked at it, it would be nice and bird friendly. It is also an organic coffee. So for those of you who value and care for an organic coffee, we have it here. So ecologically speaking, there's a lot of really good stuff going on with this. And this is also an amazing tasting coffee, which is kind of what we're getting at. It comes out of a co-op, and this co-op is made up of a little over 600 different producers. So they're small farm owners. Maybe some of them are even just picking wild coffee. Who knows? I haven't been there. I don't know specifically, but I wouldn't be surprised if that were the case. And for this coffee specifically, we've selected coffees isolated from a group of, I believe, about 18, maybe 20 women who make up that co-op. I think there's approximately a little over a third of the members are the farms are owned by women, but of these 18 to 20 specifically, they produce this coffee. So generally, whenever you see real selective harvesting in selective groups, we tend to get better tasting coffees. I'm going to bring this right up to about 600-ish grams, and then I'll keep chatting. All right, there we are. Do a little adjustment on this. So this is really cool. So supporting women who are running a family business, trying to provide for their families, this is really great. And, I mentioned geography and I didn't follow through. If you follow Mexico all the way down, before it hooks up into the Yucatan Peninsula, right against the Guatemalan border, so it's on the south side where it kind of starts to curve up, that's where this coffee is coming out of. My favorite thing about this coffee is that if you go to our website, batdwarfcoffee.com, it's priced at about $17 on the website. $1 out of that goes straight to this group called Food for Farmers. They work in several different coffee producing countries to provide education opportunities and focusing on food stability for the farmers. I went a little bit coarse on my coffee here, so I'm going to have to make some adjustments. I got a little overzealous on my grind adjustment. So to get that to steep a little bit longer, I'm actually going to collapse the spout, slow my drip, make a little adjustment, try to squeeze a little bit more time out of this, so I'm not going to make it. Anyway, at this, for this group, they're working on, I believe they're working on projects to diversify the income streams. If all you do is grow coffee and you have a bad harvest year, that means you have a really bad income year. And if you don't have any other options, that's bad math for your family. So Food for Farmers, they work on projects to help farmers do whatever they need to do to maintain food stability. And in this case, they have a project which is tending bees, because the bees are really good for the agriculture, but they're also really good for producing honey, and the honey provides a secondary stream of income should the coffee harvest itself kind of falter. That gives them other opportunities. And then there's more. There's working on planting secondary crops, even smaller crops that their family would be able to eat off of. So that's really cool. So we take $1 out of every sale, and that goes straight to Food for Farmers. And it's a really cool group that we've been working with for a while. And our coffee buyer Bob, I know he's always encouraging us to support them wherever we can. So if you pick up a bag of this, it's a delicious coffee. It has this really incredible sweet citrus. On the bag, it's labeled as kind of an orange marmalade, a little bit of a nougaty sweetness to it as well. And all of that is sitting on top of this really great chocolatey undertone with all the good coffee you would expect. Pardon, I'm just going to put this in the compost real quick. There we are. So, very excited for this coffee. And whenever we get coffees out of Mexico, whenever those come back in at Baddorf, I know we have a lot of customers who are very excited. A lot of employees who get very excited because, they just tend to be really nice, delicious, and magical coffees. And it's been kind of difficult to get some coffees out of Mexico right now because the coffee market in Mexico has been really hot. They're really, excuse me, there's a lot of domestic demand for coffee. So if you grow it in your own country, you probably drink it. So they're able to actually enjoy some of their own coffees. I'm pretty excited for this. Yeah, that's delicious. So the reason I chose to brew on the Chemex today is because the Chemex will consistently give incredible flavor clarity. The coffee in here, you can't really see it and can't really taste it on the video, but it's very light bodied. But with that light body comes an incredibly transparent flavor clarity because we trade out all the oils and fine particles that block up our palate, and we get to taste everything. So that's specifically why I chose the Chemex, was so I could really taste the notes from this coffee, but also because I wanted to fanboy out and wear my comfy Chemex sweatshirt today, because this is the most comfortable sweatshirt I've ever come across. So there we are. This is nice. It has real toasty quality. So, and then that orange, that sweet orange, really does come through nicely. I don't know if I would have said marmalade, maybe because I'm missing some of the texture components. I don't get as much of a kind of a jammy feel. But I'm getting just a real nice, sweet orange, good chocolatey notes. So I don't want to say it'd be like spreading chocolate and orange marmalade on toast, because that's not a food I would choose. But that's what's really awesome about coffee and other beverages, is that you can combine flavors that toast and orange go really well together. Orange and chocolate go really well together. And then they just happen to fit well together in here because you taste them all kind of separate. little moments. So, happy Friday, everybody. Again, the El Triunfo out of Mexico, batdorfcoffee.com. Definitely want to go with this coffee if you're shopping around. Organic, fair trade, $1 straight off of this bag goes straight to actually helping coffee farmers. One of my big small rant here, you hear a lot about coffee companies talking about fair trade and helping the farmers. One of my biggest complaints is that every single time we have the big coffee convention, we all get together. I've been in rooms multiple times with coffee roasters, coffee buyers, importers, and then people who, coffee farmers, people actually producing the coffee. And we're all sitting around and we're talking about, we recognize that there's a lot of hard realities of being a coffee farmer. It's often subsistence. A lot of times coffee farmers are maybe even going to get out of coffee because they can't earn the income that they want for their families. So they lose out on those traditions. And then of course we lose coffee. So in those rooms, multiple times, we start talking about how do we improve access to quality coffee and improve the lives of the farmers. And what it really comes down to is we need to get more money flowing into the farms. And there's various complicated reasons why that doesn't specifically happen. A lot of it having to do with commodity trading. That's very much, kind of big Wall Street finance stuff. And as soon as we start talking about getting more money flowing into the farmers, the real only answer to that is that we, start raising prices for coffee. But as soon as that happens, we have to legally stop talking because we can't talk about raising prices as an organized group. So I'm happy to see that we have been able to select a coffee to give a little boost to the farmers, above and beyond what we try to do as a standard practice anyway, trying to get a little more coffee going to the farms while keeping prices reasonable for the consumers. I studied English literature and not economics. Maybe that's why I brew coffee now for. All right. I don't know if you can hear, we got the rooster yelling at me in the background, so I'm gonna go see what he's got going on. In the meantime, go get yourself a good cup of coffee. I recommend the El Triunfo. Thank you for indulging my brief little rant there, but this is a delicious coffee, delicious across the palate, warms the soul, and helps the people who are helping to make the coffee for us. Have a great weekend. I will see you back on Monday. Enjoy.